See, when he walks into set, you genuinely think he's some superstar because everyone looks up to him with so much respect that you suddenly feel like, oh my god, like someone's arrived. That's the
Yeah.
feeling. But when you start talking to him, he's all about films and his passion is all about cinema, about how he can create good stuff. So the fact that it has Prithviraj sir and Ravi K. Chandran helming the cinematography and direction also, I think
Yeah.
it's fascinating, and I've always been fascinated with Malayalam cinema in general. So to be able to be a part of a film like a remake of Andhadhun in Malayalam was in
Yeah.
itself a great thing to be a part of. I think my next thing is I want to work with Tovino Thomas also, and I want to work with Dulquer also. I just think I'm in a fabulous place where I'm getting to work with a Shahid or I'm getting to work with a Prithviraj, so in this film especially.
Hi Rashi, welcome to Pinkvilla.
Hello, thank you.
When Bhramam came to you, what was more exciting, the South version of it, or had you enjoyed the original very much?
I had actually really enjoyed the original one. It was very unique plot and something that was full of twists and turns.
Yeah.
And the fact that I got to do it in Malayalam was honestly a blessing because I genuinely feel that Malayalam cinema, the Malayalam audience has an appetite for such kind of films.
Sure.
And so the fact that it has Prithviraj sir and Ravi K. Chandran helming the cinematography and direction also, I think
Yeah.
it's fascinating, and I've always been fascinated with Malayalam cinema in general. So to be able to be a part of a film like a remake of Andhadhun in Malayalam was
Yeah.
in itself a great thing to be a part of. So yeah, there were a lot of things that actually attracted me to this project.
But was there a lot of pressure as well, Rashi, to live up to the expectation? Because Andhadhun is a commercial success, which across India people have enjoyed the film. So when you sign a film like that, there must be a pressure to play the role and be a part of the film as much as getting the success of it right.
Of course, there's always a pressure when you're remaking a film, but there's nothing really wrong that will go with something that's already so good. But
Yeah.
then able to reprise the role of probably a Radhika Apte or Ayushman or Tabu Ma'am, I think it's a challenge in itself because they're all such good actors.
Yeah.
However, the more challenging it is, the better it is as an actor. So for me to reprise Radhika's role, of course, the way she did it is different from the way I saw it or the way I did it. The
Sure.
premise of it stays the same, but obviously the way the actors take it is very different. And I think the same goes with Mamta and with Prithvi sir because they've also given their own touch to the character. So it's obviously a little bit different, or people probably see it differently than the original Andhadhun.
Sure. What was your approach to play the part differently than how Radhika played it?
See, I feel a lot of cultural elements come into a film when you change the geography of it. Like if because Andhadhun was a story that was probably made for the northern audience in general, keeping a little bit of cultural elements there. I think for the Malayalam audience also they pick out on certain things from their culture and they add a lot of little elements to it. So there's always a little bit of homework in the way the character looks or the way they talk or the way their body languages. I mean, because a girl who's grown up probably in Kerala would be very different from a girl who's grown up in Bombay. So a lot of little things that add up to a character. So even I had to do homework for it, and the fact that it's also Malayalam, which I'm very alien to because it's not
Yeah.
an easy language at all. And I genuinely believe that you're either born or Malayali. You can't really learn Malayalam because it's a really difficult language. So I
Sure.
think a lot of things that I really personally had to work on to make it as authentic as I could and as real from my end as I could.
Yeah. Well, speaking about Prithviraj sir, I must tell you this. How I experienced his stardom is a few years ago when I was not so much into South Indian films, especially Malayalam films. I had been to Kerala and I'd gone there as a tourist, and across the streets, I think every street that I went or every hoarding I saw Prithviraj sir's picture there. And it's fabulous, it's great, the kind of stardom that he enjoys there. But when you work with him personally, and I've heard from a lot of people, he's a very humble person. He's a very sweet person to interact with. How was your experience of working with him?
See, when he walks into set, you genuinely think he's some superstar because everyone looks up to him with so much respect that you suddenly feel like, oh my god, like someone's arrived. That's the
Yeah.
feeling. But when you start talking to him, he's all about films, and his passion is all about cinema, about how he can create good stuff and how he can create new stuff and how he can take Malayalam industry in general to the next level. You know,
Yeah,
his vision is to take Malayalam industry to the global level, which I genuinely felt in his heart. Like, you know, he's like, now with platforms like Amazon, where there's so much of where there's so much of so many of those Malayalam films that you get to watch. I personally, in my second lockdown, only saw Malayalam films. So,
wow.
I also became a fan of his work because I saw so many of his films which otherwise I didn't have access to.
Yeah,
So I think with him, he's obviously a great actor
yeah,
that you all know, and I genuinely believe that he must be a great director also, not just because he's delivered a film like Lucifer, but because working with him, I understood how much attention to detail like he'll give. You know, every
sure.
dialogues, and he cares about the scene. He's a very secure actor, so he'll never think that, array, you know, there's another actor in the frame. Am I doing better? He doesn't care about all that. He creates a scene in his head,
Yeah,
and you know, he'll help the actors that, okay, this is how we can make this scene better. It's about making the film better. So I see a lot of security as an actor there, which is very rare, and I think that's one of the reasons why he is where he is. So it's been a fantastic experience working with him, and I genuinely want to be directed by him one day. And I told him, I said, sir, whenever you direct this next, just there's so much to learn when he's just trying to
I
make us,
agree.
you know. So I think it's fascinating, and I think I'm really blessed to have worked with him, honestly.
Sure. Also, speaking about Malayalam films, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you've never worked with Dulquer Salmaan, right?
No, I haven't, and I really look forward to it because
Yeah,
I've been looking forward to it for very long. Because I'm like, this is one pairing that has to happen because I think it'll look amazing on screen, and I also
yeah.
think that he's a great actor. I think my next thing is I want to work with Tovino Thomas also, and I want to work with Dulquer also. And there are so many good actors in Malayalam actually, and
Absolutely.
so many good stories that you get to be a part of. So I think I'm hoping that through Bhramam, you know, when people see me there, they'll probably want to cast me there in more films.
Sure.
So I'll be definitely open to it.
You know, actually, I was just coming to that, how lovely you and Dulquer would look on screen. I think you all will make a very beautiful pair.
Yeah. I'll tell him that. Maybe I'll be like, you know what, now they're looking at us together, so we must do something.
But you know, your journey, Raashii, has been very interesting. And correct me if I'm wrong, but you're from Delhi.
Yeah.
You started out in Hindi with a supporting role in Madras Cafe. I think you played John's wife in the film. And but then you went to the South space, and you know, you are one of the most you know, a name to reckon with in the South film industry. Has this journey been intentional? And I read somewhere that you wanted to become an IAS officer. The acting was never on your plan. How did this acting stint happen then?
I think I just went with the flow. I never really thought about, okay, this is what I want to do or that is what I want to do. I just went with the flow. Whatever I got, whatever best I could pick from the lot, I picked. And I think I've been lucky also. I mean, I genuinely feel in my case it's destiny. So, yeah, I think it just happened and I just went with the flow. There was no plan in my head. But I genuinely love what I do. I love acting. That is
Wow.
something.
You recently had a release in Tughlaq Darbar,
Yeah.
and you have Aranmanai 3 also releasing again in October. I think the week after Bhramam releases, back-to-back releases out there. How excited are you about this phase?
I think it's really fascinating because Bhramam is in Malayalam and Aranmane is in Tamil. So
Yeah,
I think to have two releases in two different industries is amazing. But right now I'm only excited about Bhramam because it's just like around the corner,
yeah,
and there's so much that I think people will love about this film that I can't wait for it to release.
sure.
We all know now that it's releasing on the 7th on Amazon, and yeah, I'm also really waiting for it.
Lovely. You know, one of the things that I really enjoy on social media these days is your and Shahid's banter.
Oh,
It's hilarious. Your
please.
and Shahid Kapoor's banter.
Yeah.
You'll miss on the set, sometimes you say don't miss on the set, and Vijay sir comes into the frame. It's hilarious.
I think it's a lot to do with the fact that we really connected as actors on set. And it just became like a thing where, you know, he would tease me and I would tease him. And in a very friendly way, you know, he's somebody I can
Yeah.
really talk to about anything. So that, I
Wow.
think that is what reflects on social media also. There is no
Sure.
pretend, you know, and he's a very real person.
He
He's not
is.
one of those, oh, I'm a star thing. You know, he's very chilled out, and I'm also like that. So I think we really bonded on that.
How is it working with him on the set?
he's extremely good as an actor. Everybody knows that, but he's
Yeah.
also very, very chilled out. Like he's very chill. Like you'll feel like you're around a normal person who's really obsessed with acting, and he's
Yeah.
really obsessed with what's happening around, like in terms of cinema. And I think there's a lot that I learned from him also. I just think I'm in a fabulous place where I'm getting to work with a Shahid or I'm getting to work with a Prithviraj, so in this film especially.
Yeah.
So I think it's a great place to be.
Lovely. And one last thing I have to ask you this: you're also doing Rudra with Ajay Devgn. Have you started shooting for it?
Yes, yes, we've been shooting for it constantly actually, and I think 50% of my portion's done already.
Wow.
Left with another 50% of the portion, and
Yeah.
I don't talk about it much, or I don't put it out on social medias because the character is extremely eccentric, and the character is something that the look of it is something I cannot reveal at all. I can't talk about it at all because it is going to
Okay.
be definitely a surprise for the audience for sure. So we're trying to keep it under wraps.
Sure. But how was it working with Ajay sir for this film?
It's an amazing experience. He also has so much experience in films that when you work
Yeah.
with people like that, you automatically learn so much. Like in some of my scenes where I really wanted some help, he was always there. He was always there to help me and guide me with his experience, which shows, when he's on.
Sure.
So yeah, it's been a fabulous experience working with Ajay sir as well.
Lovely. Will we see you a lot more in the Hindi space now in
I hope.
films and touch wood. I hope so too as well. Thank you so much, Raashii. This was a lovely conversation.
Thank you, Avinash. Thank you.